Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Kate and I'm an abstract landscape artist based in South Yorkshire. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my sketchbooks from last year, how I use different books for different purposes and how I want to develop my sketchbook practice this year. So these are the 4 sketchbooks I was using throughout 2023 and I'll be bringing them into this new year because they are nowhere near finished yet, as you can see. The first is this chunky square sketchbook by C. White. It comes in a variety of sizes and I've got the 195 by 195mm version. I love the square format and tend to only paint on one side. I used to use masking tape to create a border, but since then me and masking tape have fallen out and I no longer bother with the stuff. This is my painting sketchbook and I mainly use acrylic paint in here. It's the first sketchbook I started with in 2023 and it really shows my creative journey throughout the year. I started off with quite loose but very noticeably landscape sketches. The compositions are recognisably landscapes, but I was experimenting with thin areas of paint against thicker areas, scratching into the paint, loose brush marks and limited palettes. There is the occasional, more abstract sketch, but they are still quite tame compared to the work I ended the year with. You can see I flip between abstracts and loosely painted landscapes in this book. This is because these are my 2 favourite painting styles, but abstract came out on top for me in the end. As you can see, now we are getting towards the end of my finished pages. Things do go a bit wild, and I'm really playing with paint, collage, textures, mark making, drips of paint, scribbles and abstract compositions. I'm so impressed with how well this sketchbook stands up to whatever I throw at it. It's 140 GSM cartridge paper and it copes really well with quite a lot of wet medium and my scratching and scribbling. This last piece is completely collaged in, and it's a painting that I didn't like, so I tore it up and stitched it back together. I enjoyed doing this so much that you'll see I have a whole new sketchbook dedicated just to doing these. This next sketchbook is again by C. White, and it's a watercolour travel journal. This is my whatever goes sketchbook, so I use a variety of materials in here. Acrylic, gouache, crayons, Posca pens and ink. I tend to focus a lot on mark making and colour combinations, and the long format is quite restrictive, so I don't concentrate too much on composition. I've done a bit of swatching in here too, and these are my gouache paints. Now we're onto an A4 spiral bound sketchbook by De La Rowney, and this is where I specifically do my collage pieces. So any painting I've done on a loose piece of paper that I don't like gets repurposed, mashed up and glued in here. I'll tear the piece up to create a completely different composition and often add dry marks in after with crayons and pencils to fill in along the tear lines or stitch the piece together with repetitive marks. These little slices that I've glued in are just torn pieces that I couldn't throw away, as there's something about them, like the colour palette or the marks, that I like. Now we move on to the most recent sketchbook that I've been working in, and it's not actually a sketchbook as it has lined pages, so it's more of a journal, I guess. But I bought this as a place for my daily art practice, so it had to look precious and feel really good to work in. The book is by Peter Pauper Press, and I got it reduced on Amazon Warehouse. The cover is really inspirational to me as it shows the moon phases, astrological charts and representations of the 4 seasons in the corners. The paper is good, but it can't take too much wet medium and it does buckle quite a bit, but I really don't mind that. I wanted this to be a book I came to every day to just scribble about in with portable materials such as Neocolor 2s, Derwent Inktense pencils and a few tubes of gouache. I find the thing that really stops me from doing art daily is the faff of squeezing out big blobs of acrylic paint onto my palette and all the other bits I have to set up for a full-on painting session. I also find the crinkled paper gives it that feeling of an ancient relic or something, which I really love. You can see me painting in this book in my previous video. Moving forward this year, I want to really start a daily art practice in this last sketchbook, and I think at the moment I get too hung up on trying to fill the pages. So I'm going to try doing smaller, quicker sketches too, and really try to experiment with the format of the page spreads. So perhaps a few smaller pieces spread across the page. Let me know if you have any sketchbook related goals this year in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching.